Well, welcome everyone. I am Amanda Swan with Jeffrey Court. I am so excited to be hosting our first webinar with you all today. I wanted to go over quick housekeeping things and then we'll get started. We are going to do about 30 minutes and take some questions at the end of the webinar. So if you want to enter your questions as we go or at the end, in the chat function to your right. We'll be sure to answer those at the end. And this session is being recorded while we can't see all of you. It will be available afterwards for all the attendees with a little info guide that will be emailed out afterwards. So with that, I want to introduce our special guest today, Kath of Jkath Design Build. Her and her husband started this company quite a while ago, and they do home renovations, custom cabinetry, restorations of homes, and you may have seen some of their work featured on our website. So we're so excited to have Katie here today. Welcome, Katie.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to join you guys and engage in a really meaningful conversation right now.
Well, today we're talking all about how to use marketing to inspire design and all of the tech tools to help keep your business going during this time, and things that we're seeing that will continue on even after this is kind of what our new normal of design and build looks like. So Kate, I wanted to ask, what are some of the biggest changes you've seen with both designers and the dealers that they've had to make in this shift in their business?
Yeah, so it's a good question. So our business is a little twofold because we're not just a design firm, we do the renovation, remodel portion of things as well. We also do occasional custom homes. So if we're just focusing on that part of our business for a moment, it's always been a practice of ours to try to get our clients to come in early so that we can get the design process underway, all of the selections made before we even go in and do demo. Those scenarios are, quite frankly, really few and far between. Often we're working with clients simultaneously. We might get some headway on design, then we're doing selections throughout the early stages of demo and into some of the rough-ins, and then we've got things mostly wrapped up usually in that first phase, and then we can roll out the rest of construction. But now this has been a really great opportunity for us to reach out to people that have been in our funnel, past clients, our past funnel, our current sales funnel, and really start educating people on how long it truly can take to design a space, even if it's just a kitchen remodel. And again, I'm speaking specific to selections for remodel right now. And then really just trying to educate them on that timeline, what it'll take to get to the renovation. And yes, right now is a weird time to start a renovation, but it might not be in August or September, or for some folks even sooner. So what are the efforts we can do now to really hone in on the design only contract? So while we were thinking through more of those phases, we thought, well, what if a past client that we did a beautiful renovation for, is no longer a client on that level, wanted us to come in and now select furnishing for the living room, lower level, maybe an entertainment room, an outdoor seating area is really popular right now, as certainly here in the Midwest, temps are finally starting to raise, which is great. We decided to more formally roll out our virtual design, or what a lot of people are calling e-design. And we've done that again loosely for clients in the past, but now we've actually just formalized it, put some words around it, some structure, a process. And we have loaded that to our website, and we're starting to share that out through our different social media channels as well, so that we can really engage with people really anywhere. It can be, again, it's a virtual design process. They don't have to be within our area. And then we can just work closely through Zoom appointments, similar to what we're doing today, to get to know our clients and their style, and jump on their existing Pinterest or house boards and get a feel for what their overall aesthetic is and their design goals, and then put together a package that would hopefully be appealing to them.
Yeah, I know that we talked a little bit about how removing barriers during this time is especially important, and being able to keep things going, what that looks like from a design perspective to your different showrooms and things that you work with. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so this sounds really silly, but it's so basic. I think sometimes once we get to a point of scheduling an initial phone call, some of the next things that we need might be images of their space. We may or may not be at the point of getting actual dimensions, but typically it starts with just a handful of images to help visualize the project they've described. And I mean, this is something I would have never done in the past, and it feels very temporary for me. But I will tell clients on the phone, go ahead and use this. This is my cell phone, and text me your images. Text me what the spaces we were just speaking of. Or while we're on the call, let's turn it into a FaceTime, turn the screen around, and just walk me through your space. I think it just eliminates, having to take photos, load them to your computer, put them in an email, send them off. All of that isn't a ton of work, but it's just one more barrier. So if we can eliminate some of that temporarily, just to get to that next phase and getting a proposal in front of them, I think makes it more likely that we'll potentially work together. And then the showroom component as well. So we're just trying to be really deliberate about not a huge shift from what we've done in the past, but trying to create a comprehensive package of all of our samples for all of our potential design clients. And again, it could be a remodel client or just a design only client, but really leaning on our showrooms right now to make those samples available to us and our clients.
Yeah, I think that's great. With all these different shifts and changes that you've made in accommodating for a lot of the different circumstances that we all find ourselves in, what are some of the best marketing efforts to help communicate those shifts and like keep current projects moving forward, maybe generating additional clients, even though that sounds odd during this time of getting new business, but and maybe even like touch on how you've had to um, diversify your service offerings, how you've been communicating that, and what marketing tools you found are really helping.
Yeah. So when all of this started, there was for sure a week of, for sure 1 week, if not 2 weeks, of just sheer panic. Everything went quiet. Our funnel closed down. Even our emails went quiet. Our current clients are responding to emails. All of our subs, showrooms, everyone just kind of took a pause and trying to figure out what was going to be our next best move. Once I got through several days of feeling, okay, we need to keep going. Here's what we're going to do next. The very first hat I put on was my marketing hat. And that's just something I've done from early on, which has helped grow our business. And figuring out a way to appropriately communicate consistently with either our current clients or our potential clients. And try not to have too much of a desperate voice of, hey, guess what? We've got all these new services now, and try not to throw all of these things at our audience too fast and too soon. I'm seeing a lot of that happening right now online, unfortunately. I think people are they're pivoting too much, where you kind of wonder, is this temporary? Is this a good thing? Is it a bad thing? And so I think this is an opportunity for us personally to make some shift and change and pivot in an appropriate way. And then sort of evaluating who are, as we always do, but really evaluating who our audience is and where are they. And we have had tremendous success on social media through Instagram. We have a great following, which we're really, really thankful for on Instagram. And that's been terrific. And sharing or rolling out more of our design only services, we've been able to tap into people that way. Another avenue, we actually just had a call before we hopped onto this one, was LinkedIn. LinkedIn is super hot right now. I mean, there are people all over LinkedIn. I don't even think it's necessarily people that may have been furloughed or lost a job. It's people are just kind of curious. Well, what else is going on out in the job market right now? Because there's a lot of change happening. So I have a personal account and I launched our business account, but everything I post on our business, I reshare through my personal because that's where most of my connections are being made. So we have potentially a brand new design only client for a beautiful, gorgeous outdoor space that a landscape design firm is starting to dig June 1. So we're going to help with all the furniture selection. So I attribute that call to just a little bit of work on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I think LinkedIn is definitely an underutilized resource for businesses. Even as sales reps, that's a really great resource. Whether you're on the dealer side or showrooms, it's always important, always connect And I think that helps, you touched on kind of the voice and tone and pivoting and not having that sound of desperation in your voice of, we have all these new services, come utilize all of them during this time. So I think that allows for a more organic outreach. Also, a really great way to network during this time. It sounds odd to network virtually, but that's a really, really great way to touch a wider amount of people than you may have during our normal kind of turn of visiting different customers or different showrooms and things like that. So, definitely a really, really great tip. I know that keeping in touch with old clients is always a really great way to help with either adding or letting them know that you have new services, and maybe if they're like me, you're kind of sick of seeing the current design in your home and you just want a refresh. So getting furniture styling is a perfect way to do it. It's easier to do digitally than I think most might think. So I think that's a really, really great resource. I know for us at Jeffrey Court, for a lot of our dealers and showrooms who are currently closed, we've been taking direct orders to keep things going and trying to be a good partner to you as the designers and contractors, and giving that credit back to that dealer as they're closed to for us also to continue to be great partners with them.
Yeah, I think that's great. And one other thing to note, well, and I can't speak for the showrooms, but for the showrooms that I'm familiar with in my area, the ones that have closed, just because the brick and mortar shut down, there are still people working behind the scenes. There are people willing to put quotes together. They're willing to make sure you're getting samples in your hands. They're answering your questions. Anything that you need to know that doesn't require a physical visit to the showroom, they can answer, and often in more timely, because they're not in front of a client. They're not client interfacing inside their store right now. So I think it's a really important time to lean on our resources with our showrooms. They're available and they're ready to help, and they're the experts.
Yeah, I think that they're definitely very kind and generous in offering up all their time and efforts behind the scenes. And I know some have even implemented doing private showroom visits, so you can keep selections moving forward by appointment. We've even implemented complimentary sampling. So that way, even the designers can order them for their clients and have them shipped directly to their homes. So that way, we can help with the design selection while still social distancing, and is a really great resource. When you get the products in your hand, it's a very different feel. So I think it's great that there's a lot able to do that. I like the idea that you've done with putting sample boxes together of different materials and fixtures and things like that, and delivering them to the homes, and just kind of, it's like a nice little design gift package on their doorstep. So it's perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Anything that we can do that's branded. We maybe to a fault, but yeah, we're in the mindset of gathering all the samples still for our clients and appropriately packaging and delivering those samples to our clients to review as they're making final selections.
I know one really big discussion topic we've heard a lot about of how do we communicate this out there? How are we to market and without sounding kind of desperate? And a big huge interest is, what are the tech tools you're using? I think everyone is always kind of wondering. There's so many out there, and you can test and try a lot, but it's always best when you can hear different peers and what they're doing. So what are some of the tech tools that you use that you found were more beneficial to your company and business during this time?
So we use, which is very industry specific, from a builder, remodeler aspect, builder trend. So that's a very well known software that just organizes all of our communication with clients, contractors, spec sheets, just keeps everything. All of our team has different levels of access, kind of pertaining to their role on each job. So that's an internal tool that's working great. We also use Slack, which a girlfriend of mine several months ago, she said, I wish you and I could use Slack from different companies and communicate, because we go back and forth and bounce ideas off each other so often. It took a little bit of time to onboard the team just because it was something new. it is so simple and it is such an easy way to communicate with us. I think it'll be even better once we're all back in the office together. But right now we are running just one or two people in the office at a time. But when we were a full office prior to COVID, and when we will get back there, it's just a really great system to be able to communicate with one another. It's almost like a notification that you can put it on your screen. If you want, you can have the notification on your device. But each notification follows a thread for project. So you might say the Colfax Avenue project. Our designer might, one of our lead designers might have a question on, did the sink faucets arrive? Well, that doesn't necessarily require an email thread. And then, of course, as we know, text messaging, it can get lost in communication. But if you throw it in Slack, we all get notified. We all have our own way of keeping our notifications organized, and then we can just go back to it and answer. So it's been a really great way for communication thread that doesn't get lost. It lives there permanently. And then to your point, Amanda, you can upload documents, PDFs. We can throw a spec sheet in there, an image, question if we have an image on, a height of a pendant and somebody isn't on site to help determine the height. We can throw images with tape measures in there and help make some of those decisions from afar.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely a really great communication tool, both
yeah,
internally and externally, depending on whatever works best for your business. Being able to utilize that with clients if you want to get quick answers from them and
mhm,
keep everything streamlined. Because to your point, not everything needs to be an email. And texting can get a little chaotic sometimes when you have quite a few clients texting back and forth. So having Slack as one area for them to be able to do that is definitely a really great tool.
yeah, we've really enjoyed it. And then some of the social media, so again, I mentioned we've had a lot of success on Instagram, but I have a variety of tools that I use for Instagram. I don't just use the app. I think the app in itself, if people are looking to launch on Instagram, does a great job, and it's a really terrific place to start. But we use Later and Planoly are two amazing scheduling apps that you can use to schedule your Instagram content. That can also get pushed out to Facebook at the same time. I won't go into too much detail because I realize many people on the call might not be interested in this Instagram specific apps, but those are great tools. Amanda, we didn't talk about this, but I use Visco, VSCO.
Mhm.
There's a fun little meme out there on the Visco right now, but I use that often for all of my editing. Again, I'm not a professional photographer, and that's been critical in the growth of our social media marketing, is to be able to run all of our images, because some of them might be on an iPhone. Majority of them are from a variety of different photographers. And we can throw everything into this app and just find some uniformity so that when we're posting to our feed on Instagram, there's some consistency with our branding. And that has leveraged and really helped us with our growth, and our branding as well.
Yeah, I
Um,
think some
yeah.
good messaging points with some of these social campaigns a lot of folks are doing. I know that Facebook and Instagram actually came out and said that they had seen a 240% increase, which is just crazy. And there's even more people on those platforms now than there were prior to COVID. So your audience as dealers, designers, speaking to the whole crowd is on social right now. And it's always important to meet your customers where they're at. And they've kind of taken the guesswork out of it with this study that, this is where they are. Facebook and Instagram, it's a great way to connect. We always encourage commenting and responding back to your customers. They're obviously fans, whether it's a showroom or your different brands that you're working with. It's always a great way to connect and still build relationships with them.
Mhm.
Um, and maybe it'll help get them ready and move them to the next step where they are leads in your sales funnel. And giving like tips and tricks and styling things, little bits that help, and let everyone know like you get it, you're all in there, we're all in this together, and we're, while everyone deals with it in different ways, but we really are kind of navigating through this time together, which is why we host webinars like this, to really help the community be able to succeed.
Yeah. We're still there. Can you hear me? Thought
Yes.
I lost. Okay. One quick, I have tons of tips on Instagram, but one really quick tip, I think that could be really successful in helping you grow. or even just get started on Instagram, is to go deep and not wide. So that just piggybacking what you just said, go deep. So take a moment to respond to comments, answer questions, respond to DMs, as opposed to just feeling like you need to go on and like 500 different images. And yes, you do need to engage, but Instagram has algorithms and they understand when you are an engaged account, and they do track the number of comments you have. So 10 comments means a lot more than 2 comments and 500 likes on other images. So take time to engage with your audience, be informative, let it be a place where you can leverage content. It's only an image driven space. That is the only point of Instagram,
Mhm.
is to share beautiful content. And I would imagine pretty much everybody on this call is in the business of beautiful content,
Yeah,
beautiful, beautiful product.
I would definitely agree with that for sure. I would also encourage, the human side of all of this, because design is very personal. It really brings out your customer's personality and everything. And I would encourage everyone to gravitate towards that and really get on their Instagram stories, talk. You could do like virtual tours of your showroom and new products, things like that, to really keep people informed. And the more often you do it, the better, the more you'll show up. Like Katie mentioned, Instagram's algorithm seems like rocket science, and I think sometimes it might actually be. But there's always really great ways to help connect with your customers directly, and you never know what might happen. As long as you're engaging, there's always opportunity out there for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. One other, since we have a few minutes, one other tool that we're using, and I'll admit we have finally taken the plunge as well, and we're rolling out our email campaign. We're probably late to the party. I imagine a lot of people on this call have been doing email for a really long time. It's usually where a lot of people start, but we didn't. We started with social media, and now we're finally backing into the email. I've been told for years, and I've known it, I just haven't taken the time to do it. That and your website are the only two pieces of content that you own. So anything that you are putting out into Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, it's there as long as Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and Twitter, et cetera, are around. But our email campaign, we've worked really hard on creating content for the last few years, and we have quite a library of it. So we're really excited to put some of that back out into the world and our clients and past clients and potential new ones, and just keep the conversation going. And again, it goes back to appropriately communicating with our funnel that we're here. And the home renovation industry feels, hopefully it's not temporary, but in the last week, maybe 10 days, it feels like it's starting to go bananas again. I think people are cooped up, and
Yeah,
ready to reinvent their space in a big way.
yeah, definitely. I'm one of them. So whenever you want to come over,
Yeah. Well, if I could get out to California tomorrow.
our weather's not as great as everyone thinks it is today. It's a little doom and gloom, not as bright and sunny as everyone um, expects it to be, but it'll get back there. Um, but I think that's a really great point, in that if Instagram and Facebook and social and the algorithm kind of scare folks, the best thing you can do are communicate and showcase these things through emails and your website, because you do own it. And you do have a captive audience. They're interested. They've signed up for your newsletter. They like what you're doing, and they want more info. You should really use that to your advantage right now. And while you may not see instant gratification, I think it's more about the long term and really coming out of this and succeeding long after this. I think we've all learned a lot as things have changed so quickly. And I think those who are pivoting well and doing something to kind of stay active and get clients into their funnel and through the different services and diversifying are really positive. I also wanted to note that um, during this time, um, Jeffrey Court sales reps are still available. So if you are a customer or you're looking, your sales reps are here to help and be a resource to you, and they'll help answer any questions put orders through and kind of keep things going on a digital way than what you're used to. So they're all definitely still there for you, and we're happy to help anytime. Um, so I think if there is anything that you want to add before we wrap up a little and take some questions from the audience, if you guys have questions, feel free to add them in the chat box. It should be on your right if you don't see your chat box. Um, if you just hover over your screen on the bottom, you'll be able to see a little chat function, and you can put them in there, and we're happy to answer. Sorry, Kate, I didn't want to cut you off.
No, it's
Uh,
all no, that's great. I'm if people have questions, I'd rather help in that area.
oh, okay, we just opened it for questions. So we'll give them a moment to add some other questions in there now that it's open. But yeah, if you had any other like tips and tricks or resources for folks, we definitely want to make sure that we get that out there for them.
Yeah, this may be completely off topic or maybe not, but this is another piece of advice that in a lot of marketing conversations I'll have that people seem to really value. If you're in a process where you're trying to create content, if you're looking to launch a newsletter or maybe it's a blog, um, maybe you're even just looking for keywords to use on Instagram. Also, LinkedIn, when you do posts, you can use hashtags now. A really good tool and a really easy tool for figuring out how to find those keywords is to go in your Google search bar and just start typing the first word that might be relevant. So it might be, for us, it might be kitchen. A kitchen would be a relevant word. Well, Google's going to automatically populate. If you can kind of recall when you're in the Google search bar, it'll pull down the selections of the most searched words that are similar to kitchen. So it'll show me all my R's: kitchen renovation, kitchen remodel, kitchen rehab. So anyway, it'll start. So then you can start making a list, and I'll brain dump, and I'll do that with a lot of different words. I might just start with remodel. I might start with tile. It might be paint colors, and I'll take out of that drop down of 3 to 5 words. I might take the one or two that feel applicable to something that I can create a story around, or maybe a word, a couple set of words will pop up, and I'll think of a past project we've done. I'll brain dump maybe 50 different words, and then I'll kind of shorten that list down to 10 to 15. And that just becomes a call to action for me and our team on how we're going to create content for the next 30 days, 3 months. We might do a challenge. So for the month of May, we'll take those words and we'll put out a content calendar of things that we want to do for the month of May. And then it'll just help us creatively think of ways to put some of our work out into the world.
Yeah, I think that's a really great tip, and I think it helps demystify some of the hashtags or topics or anything. Um, so I think that's a really great tip, especially if you're just looking to get started. Um, we did get a question about how our sales reps are meeting with clients, as well as yourself, Katie. Um, do you use Zoom to meet with clients, or do you have a better app to be able to do that?
We use Zoom. I know that people have experimented with others, but Zoom has worked for us, and it seems that all of our clients, again, that's sort of that barrier of entry. Zoom seems to be the most well known. So when we say we're going to have a Zoom call, people feel comfortable with how to access that scheduled call. So that's what we've been using.
Yeah. At Jeffrey Court, we also use Zoom. It's really easy to use. I know there's several out there like WebEx and Join Me and whatnot. They're all really great. Whatever works best for you, we always encourage you to use it. We did get a question about our new chapter series, which is Chapter 2 Vintage Studio, which is really a great replacement, if you will. It's kind of a refresh on chapter 2. And so there's 3 colorways, both in matte and gloss, in a variety of different sizes. So we encourage you to browse that online, and then contact your sales rep if you have any questions or you want any samples. You can definitely get those online as well. We got a question about what do you think, and I think we could probably both answer this question from different perspectives. What do you think about having multiple influencers engaging for a business versus one business voice? responding. And they gave an example of giving sales people access to respond for showroom businesses. So we'll break it up in influencers engage with for a business. So like on behalf of the company, it sounds like.
Right. I think in terms of going in and on the back end and commenting and liking and doing the actual work part of Instagram, I think it's a great idea, because every time you log in, you're going to get a different home feed. So the chances are that your efforts won't be duplicated. In terms of having that voice on the posts that you're doing, I think it could be manageable for a couple different people to have a similar cadence. You might want to just have a kind of a branding or a showroom conversation as to what that voice is. Are you playful? Are you, um, or is it very, I don't know, specific to the product only, or are you willing to talk about? I'm always a big fan of not always talking about what the image is showing. So I might show a beautiful kitchen renovation, but what I'm talking about might be the challenges I'm facing in working from home with 3 kids that are now homeschooling, or whatever. I'm doing something to make it a little bit personable. I know that that's hard to translate on a showroom level, but there might be something to talk about how the work has shifted. What does work from home look like for your team now? But somehow, I think finding a way to not be so literal about the image that you're posting is a really good way to expand what you're talking about. In that sense, it might make it easier for others to be able to do that at the same time.
I definitely agree with that, and I think you know while you we always encourage working with influencers if it makes sense for your business, as long as they're aligned. If you're a faucet company, that they have genuine use for it or that it makes sense in the conversations that they're having. Um, but there's also no one who knows your business better. So if you are a showroom, don't be afraid to be that face for your showroom. A lot I know have in-house designers, so use them as good resources. Be a resource to your customers as well. Offer tips and tricks, or if you do have new products that they may not be able to come to the showroom to see, put it in an email and send it out to your audience. um, so definitely find kind of what fits best for you, and again, don't be afraid to be that influencer for your own showroom. um, we have another question. Oh, we have a comment. Someone really likes the tile behind you. Do you want to share what that is?
It's the press. It's from Jeffrey Court. We're talking about this one.
Yeah, I think so.
So that came out, was it probably about a year ago, year and a half ago?
So
That was a newer release, and there are 4 different colorways, and I believe there are 4 different designs. Am I getting all this right? And they are small 1-inch, actually glass hex tiles in a matte finish. Is that correct?
yes, yeah, nice. It is very much.
And I know so much because we use this tile a lot because we have it a lot on our social feed, and people will come back to us and say, "I want to hire you, and oh, by the way, that tile you put in that project, it's going in my house." So
Oh, that's perfect. See, that's a perfect example, I think, for our audience today of how social media can influence purchasing. And for both designers, showrooms, everyone, I think, definitely keep posting those really beautiful photos of all your work in your showrooms, because it does lead to sales, which is perfect. We
I
got a
have,
question.
I
Oh,
have a
go
quick
ahead.
question, and it can the showrooms use Jeffrey Court's imagery as long as they're credit? Because you guys have such beautiful imagery. Can you help create? Can they? You know what I mean? Can they use your content to help get them going?
Yes, absolutely. The showrooms are always more than welcome to use the imagery. You're free to repost if that's easier for you. There are resources available online. To go back to the note about chapter 2, there is a catalog available online now that you can download. Um, and that might be something that you want to email out as a new collection that's available, if that's something that works for your showroom and you want to get content constantly out there. So yes, everyone is definitely welcome to use those photos for sure. Um, Caitlin has a question. Did you say BSCO earlier when you list off different programs that will help you? If you want to just note that photo editing app again.
Yeah, I did type it in the chat, I think to everybody. It is VSCO, is how it's spelled, in case you care if it's pronounced Visco. So if you just go into your app store and just type in VSCO, you'll see it. There might be a free version, but I think it's $19 or $20 for the year. We use A6 if we want to get really technical. A6 is our filter that we use uh, on our feed on Instagram. So if you want to find us on Instagram and see our feed, if you like it, you can copy it, which is easy too. I'm not the only one to use A6. A lot of people use it, so other people have been doing it well before me.
And what's great about the app is that that will help your social feeds have a very consistent look and feel for your brand, which also helps attract new followers and customers and things like that when they see that there's like this consistent look and feel. And we do encourage posting regularly. I don't know that we mentioned that earlier, but I think as long as you get out there and try and put something out there, it's better than overthinking things and waiting for it to be perfect and not posting anything. Um, so I think as long as you show up for your audience, they'll show up for you as well. Um, let's see, we have a few more questions. What has been the most surprising slash innovative project during this time?
I'm looking at my team. That's a hard question. I don't know about innovative, but the most surprising project was so we have our office is a street level, and I don't know, boutique's not the right word, but sort of a smaller, cute little neighborhood here in St. Paul, Minnesota. It's called McRoveland Park, which was very intentional. So there's a lot of older historic homes in this area, so we wanted to open up shop in a place where we could do a lot of work. And we had someone come in, literally just walked in off the street last summer and asked for a business card, grabbed the card and walked out. She didn't exchange much information, and she emailed us the other day and has since come back into our office for an appointment. She bought a house a few blocks away, is closing on it in 2 weeks, and we start demo in 3 weeks.
Wow.
That's surprising to us because people
Yeah.
aren't doing that right now.
Yeah. That is great.
Yeah,
Uh,
great.
I'm sure there's many stories like that too across the board for others where happenstance becomes kind of your best friend. um, we have another question from Linda. Do you have any online design programs and software platforms for online design and any process tips for online design?
So we do a variety. I mean, there might be a day where things are just thrown into Word. We might use PowerPoint. We do have the Adobe Suite. So we do have Photoshop and Illustrator. But honestly, this is also a really good tool for Instagram and Pinterest and design boards. Canva is our favorite online tool. So that's canva.com. And it's sort of an editing software for beginners. But they have pre-templated designs in there that you not so much for mood boards, but if you're creating I don't know, if you're getting technical into your Instagram stories or other ways you want to create, maybe that your showroom's reopening, or if there's some sort of an announcement or a new product launch, they have beautiful templates. You can do even business cards, flyers, posters. It's not just for digital, but we can do an 8.5 by 11 mood board, and then we just find our images that we're using, and we it's hard to share it all right now. It's hard to explain how I do, but we just eliminate the background of the image. So if you find an image online of a pillow, it might have a chair, it might be sitting on a chair, it might have a plant behind it. We want just the pillow. So then we'll use the editor you can use it in PowerPoint, or you can use it if you have a Mac, to eliminate the background noise and just use that plain image to start populating the Canva. I don't know, I might be getting too technical,
Do
but
you,
Canva is a really good place. And YouTube is an even better place. Go on YouTube and say, YouTube, how do I use Canva? And somebody will tell you how to do it.
what about any drawing software? I don't know, like AutoCAD or anything like that.
Yeah. We use CAD internally as well for room layouts and elevations. And we own our own cabinet shop, so we use it a lot for elevations specific to our cabinet design and layout as it pairs with, the tile selection, sink, lighting, anything that might be particular in that elevation view.
We have another question. They say it may sound silly, but have you noticed any design changes or trends that have started since shelter in place?
I'm just seeing more designers come out with e-design. I think that's been the number one trend I see every time I open up my Instagram feed. There's another designer announcing e-design services. So people are willing to expand their services. They're condensing their services. I think I don't making them a little less full service where they don't necessarily need to arrange delivery and be present for install day. But they're really just focusing on helping design a particular room and making those selections and then delivering a set of links and source links and where people can find that information when they're ready to pull the trigger.
Yeah, I think one design trend I've seen since shelter in place are tiling feature walls and doing like open shelving and like the floating shelves and whatnot. We've seen a lot more of that. And I think part of it is probably because it is a really easy change to make with really big impact depending on what your style is. And if you really needed to do it, you could do it yourself, but it is an easier install to have someone come in and do within a few days' time. So I think that's something I've definitely noticed since shelter in place. We have another question. How effective, if at all, have Pinterest and How's been for marketing?
Mm.
Or
So
in general?
we this is like a whole nother webinar, by the way. We Probably close to 60% of our website traffic comes from Pinterest. So we're big fans of Pinterest. Um, it drives traffic to our website. So we're big fans in that respect. We're getting a lot of activity. And then that pairs with now, with us also being able to do e-design, we can cater to those clients. Uh, um, the caveat would be that majority of those people don't live near us. It'd be really hard for us to do a remodel project for them. But they are traffic to our website. They're reading our content. They're reading our blogs. All of that helps with SEO and Google searches so that when the person down the street is Googling a renovation company, we're just going to be higher up because of all of our friends on Pinterest that keep coming to our website. So it's just driving more traffic and putting our rankings up higher. Then we also do some brand collaborations, which is a whole nother topic. But when we work with brands to help promote their product through our feed, so we might put in a certain tile in a kitchen, and then we're telling our audience about that tile, why we selected it, the process behind it, information about the tile, where they can get it. We're working with the brand to make that happen, and brands are want to be sure that we have that flow of traffic coming back to our website to support us being the voice behind their brand. So those are just two main reasons why we love Pinterest. And then all of our clients that hire us have a Pinterest board. So it just becomes another place where we can connect their boards with ours, and we can stay in communication about, what they're seeing, what they're liking, what they're pinning. So it's just another platform that we visit. But we have a tool for Pinterest too, that it's so smart that we tap into that tool maybe once every 60 to 90 days, and then we let it do its work, and then we go back every 60 to 90 days. So we're not in Pinterest very often.
So we have one more question. What tool do you use to communicate with your builders and teams? So like all your subs and whatnot.
Builder Trend, that's the builder software that we use. And then every sub is different on their level of communication, but anytime we make an adjustment or a change or an addition in Builder Trend, we have our sub set up to be texted or emailed of that communication. So there's a shift in schedule, or if there's a particular reference day, or if it's a demo day, anything that our sub needs to know, any activity we enter in Builder Trend, we can select which sub gets notified of that activity. Of course, my husband's really old school though too, so he's always on the phone calling subs. So we are probably doing twice the amount of work, but
Helps keep things on schedule though, so that works out too. Um, I did want to know as we wrap up, because we're just at our 45 minutes, Since we've gotten a lot of questions on chapter 2, we just wanted to make sure to note that merchandising materials are being completed, and we should have them ready to roll out to all of our partners once we get confirmation and everything, that they should be receiving their um, boards and marketing materials within the next month or so. Um, and that we have a really fun comment. Katie, Jan really likes your dress.
Oh, good. Me too. I haven't been able to wear it all season, so I was excited to get dressed up for the day.
um, and with that, as a company at Jeffrey Court, lots of love for your outfit. Um, we're always looking to support different initiatives that are through different charitable causes. So if there is one that you are very passionate about or that you're involved in, we would love to help support that as well. So you can leave something in the comment box for us and let us know what that is, or feel free to email us or contact your sales rep after this. And with that, I just want to say thank you to Katie for joining us today as our first special guest to talk about how to use marketing to inspire your design and all the great tech tools that are out there um, for us to be able to use to help continue moving forward.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was super fun to have this conversation with you and with everyone else, and good luck to everyone.
Awesome. Thanks. We hope everyone has a wonderful day, and we look forward to engaging with you on our social and with all of our sales reps. And stay safe and stay healthy.